Hello. So my description to you today is about silver bows up here on the Sunshine Coast. And silver bows uh, primarily revolve around two particular aspects in understanding silver bows. And the first one is that silver bows only ever happen on a full moon, when there's lots and lots of light from the moon on our Earth. And the other thing is that a lot of people get a little bit pedantic about the full moon, and some of the remarks, we know the remarks that go around about the full moon and etc. I'm not going to enter into those because they're just too demeaning to some people. So on the full moon, there's a lot of light around, and I don't believe, from what I've felt during my life, that there's any particular energy or extra energy generated during a full moon. So there's a lot of hype about the full moon purely due to it being a lot of light around. And so the other thing that we need to understand about understanding silver bows, which are rainbows that happen at night with a silvery gleam about them, no band of 7 colors and etc., just more or less 7 bands of silver. And in a silver bow at night, you don't see 7 bands of silver. You just see a couple of strongly highlighted silver bands. So what we need to properly understand is, like I said, that first thing, that there's an extremely lot of moonlight during a full moon, which highlights the silver bows. And the other thing that we need to understand is this, that sometimes in photography you might see the photographer's offsider, or the photographer with an electric switch in his hand like I have to switch on the video, and a silver or a golden disc that reflects the sunlight onto the person's face, that the subject that he's taking the photographs of. And it does work. It does get golden light to highlight the tones of the person's face without using lighting out in the middle of a paddock like this. So that's your key aspect to understanding silver bows. And what's happening is, when the moon is up here, and if I were our Earth, and the moon is up here and the sun is over here, and at that time our Earth, or our location on Earth, is facing away from the sun, so it's night time, that the sunlight shines onto the moon and reflects onto the Earth, and it's a silver tone of moonlight. And so when the rainbows form, the silver bows form on the Earth, they're actually normal rainbows, as I said. As they form, the silver moon frequency, the silver moon light, color of light, highlights the silver bow, highlights the rainbow to make it a silver bow. Hey, how easy was that to understand? And the next thing that I'm going to explain is, I'm going to explain why sometimes, as I say, rainbows run from north to south. Why sometimes those, I need a blackboard to describe this, why sometimes that rainbows aren't facing exactly magnetic north to magnetic south. Remember, true north is true north, it's at our north pole, but magnetic north rolls back and forth. Of course, south magnetic is back and forth as well, connected by the ley lines, back and forth in a figure 8 or an infinity symbol, back and forth through true north, with true north being in the center of that infinity symbol. So why it's not, I'll tell you in lay terms, in simple terms now, why sometimes the rainbow isn't facing directly magnetic north to magnetic south, and that's because the ley line isn't directly magnetic north to magnetic south. and sometimes you might be slightly disorientated in focusing on true north, forgetting that magnetic north is there. If you're a little bit of an amateur in this particular subject, I'm not saying that anyone is an amateur in anything. We all specialise in something, I'm telling you. Who would ever think I'd be the rainbow guy? God blimey. So listen, magnetic north, magnetic south can sometimes be up to 15 degrees obscure, and that's west of true north or east of true north, and so that's about 30 degrees overall in regards to true north. And also what happens is, this is the main point to tell you, that sometimes you might see in my original video on the channel, when I do this video again, I'll put that original video there. You might notice in that original video that there's a chap hosing in the backyard. I'm going to have to hose in the backyard and find a rainbow myself in the backyard, because YouTube don't seem to allow me to use other people's recordings. That chap has got a long recording there. I only recorded just a few seconds, which is less than 10%, but and in legal terms that's okay. But YouTube don't like that, so I'm going to have to make my own rainbow in the backyard. So let me explain that rainbow in the backyard in simple terms now, without the blackboard, and to tell you that it's the same as when some chap will say that there's a ley line there in the ground and your car won't start. I've heard that was actually true. The car wouldn't start. He drove 2 earth stakes in the ground, connected it up by jumper leads in series, and the car started. So what's happening there, it's not a ley line, because if it was a ley line, it's moving at 25 kilometres an hour or 25 kilometres a day. I can't remember. I should go back and Google those facts, or look at that show again on TED TV. So what's happening there is an extremely magnetic meteorite in the ground below that car, and hosing in the backyard with a little rainbow there in the backyard, sometimes 2 and 3 rainbows in the backyard. It's the same thing, that there's an extremely magnetic meteorite in the ground, and it might be that meteorite, just by chance, is made of that 10 times stronger than ferrite magnet. It might be one of those molybdenum magnets, or whatever they're called. I'm not fantastic with remembering and identifying names. People around who know me personally will know that I'm terrible with names, and I apologise for that in this moment. But so underneath that car, or in the backyard with the rainbow, it might be that meteorite might be millions and millions of years old, covered in particles of dust eventually that became soil. That meteorite might be the size of a chair. It might be the size of a lounge chair. It might be the size of a desk, or it might be the size of a table, or it might be the size of a car, or even a house, or even the size of a football field. Now, if you remember from that experiment that most of us did as children, with the magnet under the piece of paper and the iron filing sprinkled on top, and the lines of magnetism being inside of each other and above and below each other, if I was to hang that experiment up on the wall, you would see that the lines were above and below each other. And like I say, I got to get to the blackboard and get a magnet and some iron filings to show you that. In production number 7, I hope. This is the last of production number 6. This is 6.9. And to tell you that when we did that experiment, some of the teachers, not all of them from what I gather with people that I've spoken to, moved a stronger magnet into the field of the weaker magnet, and the magnetic lines deflected. That's also a magnetic term, to deflect the lines, and it was magnetically deflecting the lines. So when we see a rainbow that's not quite in the north to south magnetic direction, then that's because there might be a meteorite in the ground in that area the size of a football field, or the football stadium, let's say. And momentarily, and when I see momentarily, I mean momentarily in that location of the Earth, that the magnetic lines, the magnetic ley lines, are being deflected. Sometimes not quite in the shape of a Z, of course, but just deflecting just slightly and then continuing, and maybe they brush over onto the adjacent magnetic line, but I don't think so. When we did that experiment as children, I vividly remember the stronger magnet coming in underneath, and none of the lines actually touching each other. They still maintained that spacing capacity, the capacity to space between each other. So magnetic ley lines themselves, or magnetic lines, magnetic energy lines that run from pole to pole, very obviously have an energy about them that won't attract to the adjacent magnetic line. I don't think science has made a subject of that. So that's another one of those 150 to 200 facts that are in my book called The Holy Grail of Science. The Holy Grail of Science book, my apologies, but I thought I had rainbows in there, and what really needed to happen is you really need to understand these rainbows, and I hope you grasped that in the first 5 seconds of this video, because we're in the last 5 seconds of the video right now. And so I hope you got that in the first 5 seconds or 10 seconds of the video, to see that rainbows are magnetic. And I'm going to leave it there, but I'm going to be back because my loved ones in spirit, I'm a medium in my profession now. I'm no longer working as a tradesman on the tools. It's very, very rare that I work as a tradesman on the tools, but in my day as a tradesman on the tools, I did an electrical apprenticeship, and once finishing my electrical apprenticeship, I did 18 months or 2 years of the contractor's course, and then I continued doing post-trade electrical courses, in total about 8 years of post-trade electrical courses. So I really covered electrical well and truly. I drove that tack with a sledgehammer to understand electrical, and I couldn't read properly in those early days, so I didn't read books. I listened to the teacher, everything in college at night time after work that the teacher told us. Then I went on to do, a plumbing course. It was a restricted plumbing course, but we covered quite a lot of versatile things in plumbing, restricted to hot waters. And I didn't just stop there at hot waters, of course. The hot water certification as an electrician, plumbing certification as an electrician. I went on to study further in plumbing, and thermostatic mixing valves and stuff like that for nursing homes and whatnot. And I did gas fitting, I did air conditioning, I did pest control, I did telephones, and in telephones I did the PABX repair, which is further studies as well, and a myriad of other things. I studied naturopathy in college about, I think it was about 25 years ago or so, 27 years ago. I studied naturopathy in college at night after work, and that really changed my life. And noticing learning so many things in naturopathy, you don't stop there. You study naturopathy for the rest of your life once you've been blooded, so to speak, in naturopathy. So it's raining now. It's goodbye for now, but I'll be back soon with some more facts, because my loved ones in spirit are giving me new facts all the time, purely because they love me, and they love each of the people that I read for as clients. They show them that love through the readings and what's said, but also to show you, to prove to you unanimously that I'm the original rainbow guy. I'm sorry I'm not wearing a rainbow shirt today. So see you again soon, folks.